Imagine you're a priest. You've chosen the most difficult path, the Latin Mass, tradition, service to your country's most forgotten faithful. One morning, without your knowledge, the Federal Bureau of Investigation opens a file on your name. Not for a crime you committed, not for a single criminal investigation involving you. For the Mass you celebrate, for the faithful you minister to in prison, and for a radical left-wing organization that convinced the FBI you pose a threat. This isn't a dystopian novel. This is what really happened in the United States of America. By the end of this video, you'll understand why Monsignor Carlo Maria Vigano's words weren't conspiracy theories. You will understand why the U.S. Department of Justice on April 30th, 2026 signed with its seals the certificate of veracity of a warning that Vigano has been launching in recent years. Let's reconstruct the sequence. On April 30th, 2026, the United States Department of Justice published its official report, Eradicating Anti-Christian Bias and Restoring Religious Liberty. A document involving 17 federal agencies, more than 1,100 notes, and hundreds of pages of attached documentation. The report reveals that the FBI's Richmond, Virginia office had classified traditional Catholics with an internal acronym: Catholic Radical Traditionalist Fascist Clericals. A category created specifically to justify surveillance, opening of files, and gathering intelligence on faithful who simply went to the Latin Mass. The most documented case in the report concerns a priest of the SSPX, the Society of St. Pius X. This priest had gone to prison several times to spiritually assist a parishioner, Xavier Louis Lopez, a man who defined himself as a radical traditional Catholic and who had been arrested on November 13, 2022, for possession of improvised weapons. When the FBI asked the priest for confidential information about the parishioner, the priest, as is his canonical right and his pastoral duty, refused. The Federal Bureau of Investigation's response was immediate. They opened a formal Guardian profile on the local SSPX chapel, monitoring the priest, his movements, his travel plans, and his credit card information. And it doesn't end there. The Richmond office coordinated its activities with the FBI's National Counterterrorism Division, the Louisville office, and a stunning detail, the FBI London office. A priest who said Mass in Latin ended up in the international anti-terrorism system. But there is an even more disturbing element, which the report puts in black and white. The intellectual basis on which the FBI based all this surveillance was a document produced by the Southern Poverty Law Center, the SPLC, a private radical left-wing organization which had placed traditional Catholics on its list of hate groups. An organization that no one elected, that answered only to its financiers, and that decided who deserved the attention of American counterintelligence. This point changes everything else, because the DOJ report doesn't stop at the SSPX. It also reveals the text messages of two Biden-era federal prosecutors, Molly Gaston and Joseph Cooney. In February 2021, after seeing a photograph of Catholic nuns attending a pro-Trump rally, Gaston wrote, "I would like to find a special assignment to track down and prosecute those nuns." Cooney responds, "I would like to indict any nun who still wears the veil." These weren't extremists on the fringes of the system. Molly Gaston and Joseph Cooney were career prosecutors at the Justice Department. They would later become senior deputies to Special Counsel Jack Smith in the criminal investigation against Donald Trump. Two people who wanted to prosecute Catholic nuns for wearing headscarves were at the top of the most powerful judicial machine in the world. Vigano, former apostolic nuncio to the United States from 2011 to 2016, had an insider's view of both the American ecclesiastical and political systems. For years, he has repeated in letters, interviews, and homilies that a cultural and institutional network exists that uses the same structures to attack Catholic tradition from within and without. For years, he has been labeled a conspiracy theorist, a schismatic, and dangerous. So much for the facts. But there's a deeper question. The FBI didn't invent the category of Catholic radical traditionalist fascist clericals on its own. He received it from the SPLC, which in turn builds it on a narrative spread in the progressive media, according to which traditional Catholicism is by its nature associated with political extremism. This is exactly what Vigano was talking about, not a conspiracy of men in black in a secret dungeon, but a cultural and institutional climate that always produces the same fruits wherever it is cultivated. This is the crux of the matter. Church history is familiar with this dynamic. It was the year 1871. Otto von Bismarck, Chancellor of the Second German Reich, launched the Kulturkampf, the struggle for civilization, against the Catholic Church in Germany. He expelled the Jesuits, closed Catholic schools, imprisoned bishops, and arrested priests. He believed that the state machinery could erase tradition. In 1887, 16 years later, Bismarck was forced to capitulate and treat with the Holy See. The church was still standing. The priests were still standing. Bismarck is in the history books. The Latin Mass is still here. And here comes the awkward question. Did the US federal government use its counterintelligence capabilities to monitor those attending Latin Mass? How many other governments in how many other countries are doing the same thing without anyone yet having had the courage to put it in writing? How many religious institutions are silently collaborating with these structures instead of defending their faithful? Vigano was right, not because he's an infallible prophet, but because he read the documents, followed the threads, and named what others refused to see. Now the US Department of Justice has done it for him, with its own official seal. If this content helped you see more clearly what is happening, you can support it with a super thanks. It's the most direct way to keep this kind of analysis going, without compromise and without filters. What do you think? If you liked the video, comment, Amen. God bless you.